welcome to the third review of the evening. Up this time is Hades Nebula. In this top-down vertical scrolling shooter, originally released in 1987, take on the role of a lone pilot fighting the forces of the evil Emperor Hades. Contains both the Commodore 64 and the ZX Spectrum versions of the game. I, Worth noting that this also saw a release on the Atari ST, which presumably they could not get the rights to. Anyway, so this game was assigned to the Galax for review. So
it was at this point that Pettyfan learned that the default assigned button for fire, which is the button you press to start the game, is fucking right control for some reason.
What in the actual fuck?
It's not, like, bad, but it's not what you'd guess.
No, it's not. Source.
What?
Literally 20 seconds ago.
This game was probably designed to be played with a joystick. But again, it's a one-button thing.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, this is a positively fossilized top-down space shooter featuring many of the greats, such as dying in one hit, rarely spawning power-ups that you need to shoot to collect, things that will kill you within a second of spawning if you don't dodge, the square hitbox that is at least the entire size of your ship. Power-ups are rare. You move slower than literally everything else. Even the things that don't move at all. Like the screen scrolls faster than you can dodge sometimes. I didn't get very far in this game, but actually, I can see what they're going for, and honestly, for the Commodore version, the music is even actually pretty good.
Sid Chip.
Both versions, the Commodore, and this came up once before with the game that had both versions. So if Petty wants to load up the other one, title screen looks great.
Oh my good lord in hell.
The whole thing is is yellow with black lines. It's even slower.
What the?
And less responsive. And this is not a thing that works very well in this things, because like when your ship is flying over a ground emplacement or something, it's hard to tell where your ship is sometimes. And the enemies and shots also blend in with any objects in the background.
I'm just marveling at the size of your ship. And
it's enormous, and your hitbox is the entire square that it takes up.
What the fuck?
I mean, some of this is the ZX Spectrum, like,
and some of this is crime against decent shmup design.
Like, the actual line work is nice, but you need to be able to see about 4 times as many pixels for it to be rational. Like I said, the Commodore version is much more playable, especially since the Spectrum version also doesn't have any music. But yeah, so far as I can tell, it's just play to attempt to get a high score. There are presumably bosses of some description if you survive for way longer than I ever managed to.
You can't fire until your bullet either hits something and go off the screen. Go fuck off.
Yeah, like I said, the Commodore version is playable. The only reason why this version why the Spectrum version is worth looking at is like to take a screenshot and say, hey, that's a neat individual sprite. I'm sure the game works well in motion unpros. Oh no, I was wrong. And even the Commodore version, it's like, I've heard this of like, what was it, Gradius 2, where like you kind of need like 2 speed ups before you can even move well.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like in Gradius it's a little easier to dodge until you get to that point.
Also, also your hitbox is actually a reasonable size in that game.
Right. Yeah, like I said, your hitbox is even with the much smaller ship in this, your hitbox is still the entire thing. You don't really have any graze survival. I don't think this is by any definition a good game by any like current standards, but it is like interesting to look at it and see where some stuff came from, or like see where it was at much earlier on, because like there is a lot of stuff here that's like recognizable, but it's still like Xevious is the jump forward from this.
That is the most obvious parallel, but I'll tell you what this game is. Alpha Mission.
I don't know if I want to look that up.
It's not that I don't believe you, it's just that's not one of the first things that I've heard of to occur to me.
No, it's a fairly obscure SNK shmup from 1985. It's a perfectly adequate shooter. See also Star Soldier, Astro Warrior on the Master System. This looks like a shooter from this moment in time.
And you get your assortment of guys that move in a sine wave, guys that move in a straight line or a diagonal line, guys that kind of follow you. I never did. I think you usually get the power-ups from destroying the I guess they're ground emplacements, but you just destroy them by shooting them. But even then, it's not reliable. It's very rare. They had not yet invented the...
They look like they're scripted at least.
I believe they are scripted, but there's not actually a rational... Like, in a lot of more modern shooters, either vertically or horizontally scrolling, there will be a, like, signature array of enemies that usually or always drops a power up. I don't believe that is the case here.
Certain boxes that will always give a power up.
Yeah, I think those boxes are ground emplacements. They do shoot at you sometimes. Yeah, I think Petty Fan is actually better at this than I am.
I've been playing shooters for a long ass time, my friend.
Yeah, I brute forced my way through Darius Twin, but even then I didn't actually finish it until I was significantly later in not that I wasn't a kid still, but like I think after the N64
kid
came
growing up, I cut my teeth on shit like Truxton.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I honestly don't think this is that bad, but it is very archaic and is mostly like a curiosity to look at older space shooter rather than like obviously there are much better space shooters these days.
Yes.
Are you sure about that? The answer is yes.
No.
Yeah, I felt a little bit bad since all of the high scores are only 10,000 and I was getting close to that. But yeah, I think that's really all I have to say about this. This is one of the games that was literally made before they could make games very complex.
And I mean, for a Commodore 64 version, the title screen and overall graphics look pretty competent.
Yeah, no, it actually looks pretty good for the era that it's from. Some of the stuff is a little bit squinchy down and small, but again, that makes it playable. Like, the alternative is definitely visible.
I was gonna say, look at the ZX Spectrum version
Mm-hmm.
for more information about how to make this game not playable.
Yeah, and I think the only power-ups I ever got were the lasers and the speed up. Because the other ones sound much more interesting. It looks like there's even something that's probably somewhat Gradius option-like. So yeah, if you're interested in the history of space shooters, this might be worth looking at, provided it is reasonably priced. Adam, is it reasonably priced?
I would say so. At $3.99, $4.
Yeah, that sounds reasonable.
Okay.
Honestly, just for inflation, that's probably about how much it would have cost back in the day.
It depends. Like, if this was something that was sold on cassette or floppy disk.
Valid.
Like, because, like, I know cassette games, those were the ones that tended to go for, like, £8. Like,
And if you're really frugal, maybe you could find someone who can teach you how to code it into your Commodore 64 yourself.
anyway, so yeah, I think that'll about do it for Hades Nebula. Be sure to tune in after the break, as I will give impressions on Gods of the Twilight.